Welcome, we're back to another episode of Did You Know with Dr. Raymond Lombard.
Thank you.
I'm Bessa Kutsia. Welcome. This is our double episode. We finished off with the days of Noah just now.
Absolutely.
And we're continuing with the days of Lot. And
Yes, sir.
if you haven't watched the previous episode, please go back and watch the days of, or why Jesus spoke about the days of Noah, the signs of the times. And now we're going into the next chapter, which is chapter 4 in the book, How to Navigate Through the End Times, which you can get today and come and follow along. We're going into Jesus and the days of Lot.
Just a question. If I live in the States or in England or Australia, how do I get hold of that book?
So the book is available on Amazon, Kindle, in most of the countries across the world. So Amazon, easiest way to get a paperback book, or you can get your Kindle book. But it's always nice to get the book like this, because you get your book, you can make your notes as we go through this. There's some great videos you can scan and watch. It's an awesome book.
I think I'm of the old school. I don't do Kindle. I want the physical book in my hand because I can scratch and do what I want.
Precisely. So you can, if you are watching this from any other country than South Africa, we are, of course, in Cape Town, South Africa, but you can get your stuff on Amazon and we'll be delivered straight to your door in the next day or two. And then follow along, because we're only at chapter 4.
Yes.
And we've got 49 chapters to go. Well, 45 chapters to go out of 49. So
Sure.
we're just getting started.
I know. What is this episode? Was it 6 or 7?
I'm not even sure anymore, because we said we're going to do 49 episodes, and it's
No,
probably going to be
it's gonna be
105 episodes. But this one we're going to do in one episode. Chat about the days, Jesus and the days of Lot.
But this is a very interesting one for me.
Okay, well, you got
Because
30 minutes.
because the fact that Jesus says also, when he talk about the days of, I don't know if you want to read that portion of scripture, the one in Luke 17, verse 28, verse to 33 for us. You have it there?
Yeah. So it actually starts off here with 28 to 33, eh?
Yes.
Likewise, this is Jesus speaking.
Yes.
Likewise, as it was also in the days of Lot, they ate, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. But on that day, Lot went out of Sodom. It rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even so it will be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he who is on the housetop and his goods are in the house, let him not come down and take them away. And likewise, the one who is in the field, let him not turn back. Remember Lot's wife.
Very interesting.
That's turning back. Whoever seeks to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life will preserve it. Ooh, there's so much we can take out of this, but we're going to...
Absolutely. So again, Vessel, like in your previous episode, when you read about the days of Noah, what's interesting, Jesus don't speak here about sin when he says they ate, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong. Again, what Jesus is saying is people went out with their everyday business, living normal life, getting on their car, driving on the interstate, going to Cape Town, doing what they do, going through Ben Schoeman to Pretoria, Johannesburg. They get in the vehicle and they go to work.
Yeah.
And they go home and they eat and they go and do what they want. What we see here, what is amazing, is people went on with their normal life. But then he said these words, but on the day that Lot went out of Sodom.
Yes.
So there's a particular day. Now, here again, Lot was the only righteous man in the whole of the city of Sodom and Gomorrah.
In that city.
Yeah, in that city.
Yeah.
And remember, when Abraham, the righteous man, when he prayed to God, remember that story? He said, Lord, if there's 40, if there's 30, 20, will you still, destroy the city? And God said, even if I find 10 or 5, I will not destroy. Well, there wasn't 10 or 5 in the whole city. So the 2 angels came to destroy and to save Lot. They grabbed him by the hand and his family and, guide him out of the city and say, come, we are going to destroy. God did not find even 5 or 10 righteous people in the city.
Sure.
So like in the days of Noah. So what we do find, if we read between the lines, God is looking for righteous people on earth he do not find them.
Yeah.
Not in the days of Lot,
Not
not in the
days
days of Noah.
So I want to ask this now. Lot, he was family of Abraham.
Yes.
Okay, so then they got an opportunity. God was like, listen, I'm going to send angels to take them out of the city because I'm destroying the city.
Yes, yes.
Why was his wife included in that? Like, because we say like Lot's wife. Was it just like God said, I will take Lot and his family?
Well, it was the same with Noah and his family, because God is a family God.
Okay.
And the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 7 that the family is considered holy by God when one of the people, the husband or the wife in the house, is a righteous person and a saint.
Yeah.
Then in a special way, God protect that family because of the man or the woman that fear God. So God gave Lot's family a chance.
So wait, because I wanna ask this in context of today.
Yes.
Your family can be protected because of your faith, but it doesn't mean they are saved because
That's
of your faith.
exactly what it is.
Okay.
You have said it, you've nailed it.
Okay.
Because
I just
you
want to make
can
that clear
pray.
because some
Yeah.
people will take that as no, my dad's a man of faith.
Yes,
We
yes.
all
Yeah, we will all go
going
to
to
heaven.
heaven. Yeah, yeah.
No. But because of your faith, you can really pray God's protection of your family.
Yeah.
Lot was Abraham's nephew.
Yes.
So, and when we look at the history of what really happened there, what's amazing to us is that Lot's wife, you asked me about Lot's wife. We don't have a name.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also very interesting.
Lot's wife.
Because the Bible is silent about the wife of Lot. We don't know from what race, what family, what background she was. All information we have about the wife of Lot is in Genesis 19 verse 26, one sentence. Only one sentence about this woman ever written in the Bible.
What was that sentence?
The sentence is, but his wife looked back behind him and she became a pillar of salt.
Okay.
That's all you read. There's nothing else.
So that's
about
all
this
you read
woman.
in Genesis, but then Jesus will take time in the future and say, but remember that
Yeah, so-
woman that we only had one sentence
Right,
about
so
in Genesis.
2,000 years later,
Yeah.
2,000 years later, Jesus took us back to the story that happened in the Old Testament in the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 19. And what Jesus was saying is, we must pay attention and consider this woman. Because Jesus said, remember Lot's wife. He did not say remember Rebecca or remember Naomi in the Bible or remember Bathsheba.
Well, I feel like isn't it more a warning then, because he would have mentioned those women and say, live like them. But he said this woman as a warning. Do you think that's the...
There's something very deep here.
Okay, tell
And
us.
if I have time, which I believe I have, when we look at Lot's wife, the one thing that really grabs your heart is, she was saved from destruction out of the city, but she never made it safely.
Yeah. Why?
We'll get to that in a moment. But what we're dealing with here is somebody that's actually nearly saved, but never made it. It's not like a total lost sinner.
Yeah.
She heard the angel grabbed her by the hand, he led her away from destruction, and still she would turn around. So it is a thing about the heart.
Okay.
It is a matter of the heart. And we'll get to that. But the fact that Jesus said, remember Lot's wife. Okay, because she looked back. She looked back to what? Well, in the previous verse where you've just read, Jesus says, do not turn to your household stuff. Your car, your diamonds, your bank account, what you have at home, your precious metal. The fact is, when she had to flee, she couldn't. Her heart was with worldly things, material things. So, who she was, I mean, when we look at she was married to a righteous man. Make no mistake, the New Testament says that Lot was a righteous man. So, a man feared the Lord. So, she had a husband that knew the Lord. And so, Lot's wife became part and parcel of the culture of the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. If you don't know, you go and read that story in Genesis 18 and 19. What actually happened was, Lot chose this area for his cattle and to ranch his animals, and he thought it was a great place, but it was full of sinners. Homosexual city of Sodom and Gomorrah. He lived outside the gates, then he moved inside, got himself a house inside, moved with his family inside. Now he lives in this homosexual city. This is what he did. That's what the Bible tells us. That was a story about Lot and his wife. They lived there. But this Lot's wife, she was surrounded by faith. She knew Abraham, and he was a man of God. She was there when he built an altar. She was there when he told Lot what God appeared to him. She heard about the promises of God. She heard about the covenant that God was making. She understood all of these things. So she did not live in ignorance. This is what's actually crushing your heart about this woman, about this person. She knew better, but she never followed. She never had faith of her own. She never believed herself. The problem with this woman was, although she lived in a house, if we look at the conditions that was there, what always grabs my heart is, how is it possible that you can live in a house with godly people, your husband or your wife serve the Lord, and you still go lost? This is what we see here. His wife was lost. She was nearly saved, even met the angels, met the righteous Abraham, but it wasn't enough, which shows you cannot get saved on somebody else's faith. Not the husband, not the nephew, Abraham.
Or even on experiences that you go, I was there when Abraham did this, I saw the angels, all of this, and she still turned around.
So the fact that Jesus says, remember Lot's wife. Why, if we may ask, did Jesus want us to focus on her? I'll tell you what. She had an attachment to the past. Let it be a warning to us. She couldn't let go of the past. She had to turn around to what's in the house. There was curiosity, there was disobedience, there was a lack of faith. And when we look at all of these things, we realize it is possible to be nearly saved and eventually be lost. Because if we look at this woman, her judgment was sudden, it was final, inescapable, it was strange, it's a dishonor. And so people will live in the days of Jesus, believers and unbelievers mixed with each other. But those that are in unbelief, like Lot's wife, they will never be able to be saved at that very moment. When the rapture comes, they're going to stay behind. That's what's coming. So when I look at Lot's wife, I see almost saved, but lost. Lost forever. She looked back. So when we look at the story in the Bible, what God is telling us is the following. It's going to be a godless society, right? The end times. I don't know if you know it, but that currently we have 25 nations of the world that have accepted same-sex marriage. Women with women, men with men. 25 nations in the world have accepted it as a legal practice. South Africa, our country, is one of them. So people live in sexual immorality. Remember, the days of Noah, let me remind you, was days of crime and
violence.
Terrible, evil, violent crime. The days of Lot was sexual immorality. And today, by just pressing 2-3 buttons on this phone, I can get very evil content.
You can get whatever you want on your phone.
So what I'm saying is, for us, it's just a fingertip away. If that is where your heart leads you, that's where you want to go. So what I'm saying is, evil is not far away. It's not only in the city. It is now in people's houses. It's on television. It is on their phones. It is a fingertip away. So what we have here is that the days of Lot was earmarked by sexual immorality. So if I ask you a question, you as a young man, when you look around the world today, I mean, you know, and I mean, people around us will also confirm that we live in a very immoral society.
We have all awakened to what is the new normal for people, or how to to operate is not according to the Bible anymore.
So,
It's according to what the world says.
okay, so here's our problem. Truth is absolute.
Yeah.
Truth can't change.
Yes.
Sin in the Old Testament is sin in the New Testament.
Yeah.
The God of the Old Testament is the God of the New Testament.
Yeah.
So the evil of the Old Testament, the same evil we see in the New Testament. And what Jesus is warning us is He's warning us to look at the signs of the times. If you look around your world today, what we see in the days of Lot and we see in the days of Noah, we can see it today. And Jesus warns us that this is something very serious to think about, that Lot's wife did not make it. My question to you is, if Jesus would come today, will you make it? Or is there things in the past that's tearing you back, holding you back? Has your sins of the past been forgiven? Have we asked God's forgiveness? Have He given us a new life in Jesus Christ? Because Lot made it, Noah made it, but I mean, not one of Noah's friends ever made it. Lot, even his wife, did not make it. So the world that we live in today, now if Jesus says, think of Lot, it means probably some family members is going to stay behind.
Yeah.
That happened with Lot's family. Although Noah's family was saved, not one of his friends and colleagues and work colleagues was saved.
Yeah.
Not one.
You said at the end of the previous episode that Noah's story was about the world, and Lot's wife is about the cities. What was the thought behind that?
Because what we find is that, yes, when Jesus comes back now, He might not destruct the whole earth, but parts of the earth, because when we look at the Great Tribulation coming, there is cities that will be saved in the Great Tribulation of the sheep nations.
Okay.
And then the goat nations will be totally destroyed.
Okay.
So some cities will be totally destroyed when Jesus comes. We know the whole world will be burnt by fire one day, but that is when the Lord is making a new heaven and a new earth.
Yeah.
So what we do see is there will be places on earth that will be totally, totally destroyed in the end time.
Yes.
Where in the days of Noah, the whole earth was destroyed. So the difference was there was a destruction of the whole earth, and now we see a destruction of cities. Then the reason for the destruction of the earth is they lived without God, and there was just wickedness in the heart of man. In the days of Lot, the cities was destroyed because of sexual immorality. So what Jesus is actually doing is He's fixing our attention on on how people lived in the days of Noah and how the people lived in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. Do you think today, do you think it's important to think of where you should live in that sense?
Like for instance, there's certain things that I will not allow on my property,
Yeah.
in my house, and where I want to live.
Yeah.
But now we have to tread very carefully here, because Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth.
Because He might call you to ungodly places.
Exactly. So for us, if God calls me to go and live there,
Yeah.
it's not good to live in a place where you live in this temptation day and night.
Yeah.
So, but if you choose to do it, fine. But what I want to say is, but if God calls you to a particular area to live there, to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world, then we do it.
Yeah.
If you think where Mother Teresa lived,
Yeah.
in the gutters of Calcutta, and with the leprosy and all the evil that was there, but she lived for God, and I mean, her life speaks for itself. I want to say that for us, of course, it would be nice to live in a nice place where everybody loves everybody, but this is not the world that we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you want to finish with this story? I like this story because this is at the beginning of this chapter. You tell this story about this mummy that they found.
Yes, it
Would
was.
you tell us that story?
Yeah, it was actually amazing that in my study of end times, I found in the book Feminine Faces of Clavis Chapel, where he recounts a discovery of an excavation that they found in the Roman city of Pompeii. Now, I like the story of Pompeii because in history I looked a little bit to what happened there in the city of Pompeii. But in this particular instance, he was talking about they found, the people that did the excavation, mummified remains that was preserved because one of the volcanoes, Mount Vesuvius, that erupts. Yes, and when it erupts, of course, they found in the lava of the ashes. Later on, when the lava came to rest and the ashes came down, they found the body of a woman. The position of the mummified body of the woman tells a tragic tale, because what actually happened was her feet point back to the city gates where she tried to flee when the ash of the volcano came, the hot ash. She never made it. But they found her outstretched arms as if she's reaching out to something. And in that mummified position, as they worked through the ashes, they came upon a bag filled with pearls. And then they realized, probably this is what they could gather from the evidence. As she was running away, the bag of pearls fall. And so we don't know, was she on a chariot or what happened. She turned around or she jumped off and she ran back to fetch the pearls. She never made it. She died before she reached the pearls. And as she lied there, and with the lava ash coming down, it was quite an amazing story where they actually said, so Chappell, he observes this whole story. And so he came to the conclusion, you know what he said, Wessel? He said, even with death looming and life beckoning beyond the city gates, she was ensnared by their lure. It wasn't Vesuvius' eruption that revealed a preference for pearls over life, but her mummified posture of greed. The things of the world had place in her heart. So much so, she just couldn't let the bags of pearls stay behind.
Yeah.
And so she never, that bag of pearls cost her life. And Jesus said, remember Lot's wife.
Yeah.
Don't let things of this world keep you away from Jesus. This, actually, if Jesus could paraphrase it, he would, if he could continue, he would probably say today, remember Lot's wife, her heart was in the household, because the text says, when Jesus said, remember Lot's wife, you remember in that verse that you said, as in the days, I need to confirm with you, he says, in verse 28, in the days of Lot, and it will be destroyed. And listen to this, verse 31. In that day, he who is in the house stop, and his goods are in the house. Let him not come down to take them away.
Yeah.
Then he said, remember Lot's wife. That's what happened.
Yeah.
She went back to the household stuff.
Yeah.
What in your house keep you away from Jesus?
Yeah.
What in your life keep you away from Jesus? This is a sobering story.
What is keeping you away from Jesus?
Sure.
May
God help me that nothing keep me away from Jesus. Please, Lord, if there's anything, reveal.
Precisely. And I mean, that's the story of God leading her into safety. And what she does is, at the end of the day, she's thinking back about what she's leaving behind.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Lot's wife is now in Hades.
Okay.
She's in the fire of Hades. I know that Jesus sometimes visits Hades. And I read many stories about that. But let me tell you something. What is going through Lot's wife's mind today in Hades when she thinks back on that day, the last day of her life on earth? I should have never turned back.
Yeah. Was it worth it?
But why did she turn back?
Because whatever was behind her in the city had dominion over what, or above what God was in her
So
life.
it means her heart was drawn to the material things of the world.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah,
Her heart was there. And not with the angel that said to her, don't look back, flee.
yeah,
Now think about that. God's grace is so great. He sent an angel, grab her hand, lead her out of the city. I mean, what more grace do you want?
yeah. Well,
An angel from heaven.
you can't have more.
An angel from heaven come and take you away from the danger. And
Yeah.
you still go back.
Yeah. And that's why these stories, these end time stories, just remind you, live with an expectation. Like, don't hold on to what you have here.
Please, Lord.
Think about what Jesus is doing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
There we go. Well, that was chapter 4.
Absolutely. We're doing fine. We're only 45 to go.
45.
Yeah.
But hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode. I hope that was a good one. Like we always say, there's still so much more in this chapter that you can go and read. And this is sort of the long-form conversation about the topics, how Ray did his studies, how he put this all together, what we read in the Bible, and it's always super helpful. So thank you once again for sharing those. And you can go and share this episode as well. If it was insightful, if it was a new revelation, if it's something that you want to tell people about, you can share this, put it on your WhatsApp, put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook, share it with the world. And thanks for joining. We see you at the next episode.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe this channel as well. There we go.